Inmate Hit Lists. How inmates can reach out and touch you when you're not at work, when you're out on the street, when you're home. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. I'm going to give you some examples today, some real life examples of how inmates don't have to get you if they want to while they're in the prison. We all know that we have attacks on officers within the prisons and jails, but they can also reach out and get you while you're off duty. That's why you must always be on the alert. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to scare any new officers. Older officers already know this, but I don't want to scare any newer officers. It's just a fact of life and the job we do, which makes our job more dangerous than people realize. People don't realize how dangerous of a job we have. And for some reason, they think that once the inmates are locked behind the prison walls, everybody's safe. Well, that's not true. For example, a South Carolina correctional officer was shot in his home 6 times while a person stood over him and shot him 6 times. He survived. That South Carolina correctional officer is now on a mission to get weapons out of prisons in South Carolina. An inmate from Lee Correctional Institution ordered a hit on this officer with a smuggled cell phone. Yes, smuggled cell phones, as we all know, or should know, are one of the most dangerous pieces of contraband in the prison. I know a shank is. I know drugs are dangerous. We know that. But I'm telling you, cell phones are incredibly dangerous for that reason that I just gave you, for setting up escapes, for setting up those drug deals and getting those weapons into the prison. An inmate at Odom Correctional Institution near Roanoke Rapids paid an officer $2,500 for 10 cell phones and a pound of marijuana. Now, I can tell you from experience investigating these crimes, that officer cleared $2,500. That officer didn't have to go out and buy the 10 cell phones and get the pound of marijuana. Normally in these cases, the marijuana and the 10 cell phones are given or supplied to the officer by one of the inmate's friends or family members on the street. And then they get their $2,500 tax-free under the table cash, okay? Another topic we'll talk about another day. That's a corrupt officer, another very dangerous person to have within the prison system. But anyway, these cell phones come in, these drugs come in, and that's how these hits get put on officers. A blood gang member in a prison in North Carolina used a cell phone to order a hit on a prosecutor's father. This is not an uncommon thing that prosecutors themselves or one of their family members has a hit placed on them by a very unhappy inmate. You know, they commit the crime and they get mad at the prosecutor for prosecuting them. You know, that's the way their mind works. They go out and do bad things. That's a first-degree murderer, by the way, that put the hit on that prosecutor. You know, it's funny how they can do bad things, but then when they get prosecuted, they want to place a hit on the people that put them in prison. They never look at themselves and take any kind of remorse or take any kind of responsibility for their own actions. I'm sorry for my viewers that have been in prison. Let me make sure that I say not all inmates do this. Just like I say, not all officers are corrupt. We have to keep it fair, folks. It's True Prison Stories. Not every inmate's going to do this. But as officers or prison employees, civilian, we can't tell which inmate is or is not going to do these terrible things. So you have to have your head on a swivel 24/7. You have to treat them all exactly the same and watch every one, because you don't know which one is going to put you on their hit list. Okay, now, as far as prosecutors go, I had a case in Fort Myers, Florida. Federal prosecutor Doug Malloy had a hit placed on him by an inmate at Charlotte Correctional Institution in Punta Gorda, Florida. I had to do that investigation. The inmate was about a month or 3 months away from getting out of prison, and we detected through phone calls and a letter he had mailed that he wanted to take care of federal prosecutor Douglas Malloy. Doug Malloy has been retired for a long time now, but this inmate, thank goodness, was a stupid criminal who'd already served a long sentence, and now we got him arrested, booked into county jail for a new crime, and we got him sentenced back to another prison term. He did not go home. Thank goodness for stupid criminals. Now we're talking mainly about hits that can happen on the streets. These inmates can place hits on you at any time. Polk Correctional Institution, a friend of mine, Captain Dwayne Kennedy, was telling me that they found a list one time of officers' names, a hit list on correctional officers. And these inmates had specifically stated in the letter that if they get the chance, they will take care of these officers. Now, we know probably what type of officers these were. These were officers who were making them walk the line, follow the rules, do what they're supposed to do, catching them with contraband, placing them under, locking them in confinement with a disciplinary report, pending disciplinary action. You know, we know that the inmates don't like officers that do their job. Do they respect them? I say yes. They know that the officers are going to follow the rules and make them do their job. But in the back of their mind, they don't like that. Of course, why not? They don't have their freedom to play their games, run their contraband and do things. Well, that's our job, to stop them from doing that. Another place found a list of 17 officers' names, and on their list it said fire. Now this list was actually turned over to staff members. Fire them, get them to retire, or else. You know, a threat. This is like a threat before a riot, a threat before rioting and taking over a prison. Here's our warning. Now, when you get a note that says fire, retire, or else, and you have 17 officers' names, management, you better pay attention to that warning. That is a warning sign. You now need to investigate, and investigate deep. You need to find out who wrote this list, what's going down, because I'm telling you, that's a warning sign. They're telling you, or else. Now, you're not going to fire these people. You're not going to force them to retire. Of course, you're not going to do what they demand on their list. But I'm telling you, you need to take action to find out who these inmates are and get them separated, transferred out, or whatever you want to do. But they need to be placed under investigation. It's time to hit the mail, time to hit the phones, time to get down to some serious investigation, because that is a big warning sign that something's about to break loose. I wanted to set a few examples today. I picked a few examples, two from my area, Polk Correctional Institution, and one that I told you about with the investigation I had, and then some others from different states. Folks, believe me, you can always be put on a hit list. And if you are, there's nothing you can do about it except keep your head on a swivel, stay alert, and when you're at home, enjoy your life. You know, but hey, what's the old saying about us correctional officers? When we're off duty, we're always looking around. When we go to restaurants, we want to sit with our back against the wall so we can watch. Why do you think we get into these habits? Protection, defense. We learn these things as we go. If you've been in corrections for a while, if you were in the military before corrections and then come to corrections, you all know what I'm talking about. You start building in these defense mechanisms, which I think are good, because how many of you see your average citizen walk out of a mall looking at their phone, not paying attention, going to their car, unlocking it while they're looking at the phone, and some knucklehead grabs them from underneath the car and pulls them down and hurts them and steals their money, takes their car, or worse, sexually assaults the person. We as correctional officers and former military, or anybody in this type of business, we learn peripheral vision, even off duty. We walk out of the mall and we're looking around. We're looking for our vehicle. We see our vehicle. We're watching our vehicle as we go. We're looking to see if anybody's around. I'll give you a quick example and then I'll stop. Just yesterday, I took my wife to pick up her prescription medications. I stayed in the truck and she went in. I see this character that doesn't look too good to me walk in, and then I see another character who looked not too good to me, and I see him looking around, and he's nervous and he's looking around. He opens the door and looks in. It's a very small little place with a pharmacy over here and then a little place over here you can buy things like a 7-Eleven would have or something. And I said, uh-oh. Well, I have my concealed weapons permit. For those of you who don't like it, tough. Second Amendment rights. And I get out of my truck and I say, I'm going in. And I walk in and I look at this joker outside and he looks at me real funny, and then he kind of gives me a funny look like he wants to say something, but I just nod my head. You know, I'm not going to argue with people. I nod my head and say hello. He said hello. Okay. I walk in, the other guy's in there, and my wife is just finishing up. It took a little long to get her prescription. But we learn these signs. And I went in, and everything was okay. Everybody was friendly. The guy in the store was even in line behind my wife for the prescription. Everybody was friendly, but I was a little concerned from what I've done in the past year. What's wrong with that? Nothing. We're protecting our family and ourselves. Keep your eye on things even when you're off duty, folks. Be alert. Take some safety measures at home. Get some cameras around your house. Get some alarms. You don't have to live scared. I don't live scared, but I live cautiously. Thank you, everybody, for watching Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video.